So we have a real one in our midst. His authenticity reigns in every space that he sits in. And that's exactly why I called him that. He's earned the right to have it, okay? It's become a lifestyle for him, I would say, at the end of the day. And he's got bragging rights, being the first #1 Afrobeat song on the Billboard charts. And of course, has had a huge influence on how pop has been expanded to also include the genre of Afrobeat. I'm talking about the one and only CKAY. The crowd goes wild. Welcome, CKAY. Thank you so much for being here. How have you been?
Thank you for having me. I've been great. How are
Yeah.
you?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Even better now that I get to, have a quick chat with you and a sit down. Well, let's get straight into it. The Grammys just happened, and that is a huge thing, and it's becoming even bigger on our continent. It's very exciting right now to be South African, to be Nigerian, just to be African overall, right? The African representation has been so wonderful and so good to see. But you're also no stranger to the Grammy space, being a Grammy nominee, working with Janelle Monáe, who bowed down to the Queen. She's like a hero in my eyes. I did want to get your thoughts on the inclusion of the new category of Best African Performance, and also the domination of Nigerian representation in that space and category.
Um, well, I think it's a good thing that there's an extra category for African music on the Grammys.
Yeah.
Um, I think the Nigerian representation, I mean, Nigerian artists work really hard, and I would say the nomination list reflects that hard work.
Mm.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, you are testament to that as well. They say that when we see overnight success, it's actually got 10 years of hard work behind it. And I think that you can definitely nod and agree to that. I mean, if you consider that your viral hit went crazy after 2 years of its release, I mean, that in and of itself kind of speaks to that. And I'm also really curious about your thoughts on the viral space right now. I mean, I know that social media plays such a big role on how artists become known, how people become tastemakers, how people become the next big thing. And you've experienced that firsthand as well in terms of you gaining virality. So what are your thoughts on Universal Music Group actually pulling their catalog of music on spaces where you yourself have gained success?
Um, well, Universal is a company that I don't work with, so I cannot speak
Yeah.
for their actions,
Mm.
and I cannot speak on their actions. I think they know best how to run their company.
You think so? Okay,
I don't think my opinion in their business matters.
for sure.
It's their business.
Mm.
Yeah.
And do you find that it might, I mean, from an artist perspective, because you are also sitting on the other side, like perhaps it might affect them, I don't know, positively, negatively?
I mean, the one thing I do know is that the artists who are not under Universal, their music gets to be on TikTok still.
Right.
And whatever the ripple effect is of that, I guess it is what it is. I can't really predict because this is an unprecedented situation. So we can only wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
But I can tell you for a fact that social media is very important in, the speed at which music travels. I've literally been to every corner of the world, places I'd never been to
Yeah.
in my life. Like, me crisscrossing the Caribbeans, Asia, like India, Middle East,
Yeah.
South America, North America, Europe, and other parts of Africa. And the fact that my music is, known in all these places,
Yeah.
even though I hadn't been there, it
Mhm.
just shows you how powerful social media and, the fans are in terms of music traveling. So I think social media is very important at the end of the day. And yeah, I think anyone can do with this information as they please.
Yeah. I love that. And I mean, you're completely right. And I'm actually grateful that we live in the age of the internet so that we can, expand and explore music that we may not physically be able to see in real life. It's an incredible time to live in right now. And again,
Yeah.
congratulations on your huge success and growing success as well. It is so exciting to witness and to be able to, I don't know, I'm gonna claim to be a part of it too, you know what I'm saying, as a fan of yours. I was curious before we get into chats about the two new singles that you've generously blessed us with when it comes to music, about this conversation around relevance, right? I think that you've maintained your presence in the top of people's minds when it comes to whether it's listening to your music online on social media or podcasts or being present at the Grammys as a nominee or working with the best artists. Do you ever have that conversation with yourself about maintaining relevance and always staying on top of your game?
I mean, I work really hard in making music and everything else that has to do with the music.
Mm.
And I just believe in consistency and working hard and working smart too. I
Mhm.
think if you do that, everything else takes care of itself. I
Mm.
mean, success, relevance, as you called it,
Mm.
um, whatever it is that is positive comes from consistency, hard work, and excellence.
Mm.
So I just believe focusing on these three things
Mm.
solves all those problems.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. I hope people can take some notes from that as well. Well, let's get into the two new singles that you've blessed us with. I was jamming to Mysterious Love this morning, and it's already clocked 500,000 views, which is insane, but also not surprising. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about this offering, especially in the month of love? I mean, it couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, the two-pack Is It You and Mysterious Love is basically a time capsule of a
Mm.
point where I had to question love. I feel like love has to be questioned. Anything that is of importance has to be questioned
Yeah.
before it's accepted wholeheartedly. I feel love is one of those things. And Is It You was basically me questioning the love, and Mysterious Love was me accepting the love even though I had no explanation of it.
Mm.
Even though I asked those questions and I didn't quite get the answer to
Mm.
the questions. So it's basically it's like a prequel and a sequel. So to understand the two songs, you have to listen to both of them in sequence
Mm.
because it's a narrative.
Mm. I love that. And will that narrative carry across a project, an album, an EP that we can expect later this year? Is it part of a bigger project?
Um, so what I can tell you is I have lots of music lined up to come out. I have
Mm.
a project coming out eventually. I don't really like to give exact dates because I want people to experience it, with an open mind and with a fresh mind.
Mm.
Every time I make music or I release music, I want it to be experienced with a fresh perspective,
Mm.
and to be perceived as it is. But yeah, a project is coming and lots of music is coming.
And is this first half of the year, second half? Are you going to keep us waiting into festive again in December? Can you give us a timeline?
As frequently as possible this year.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. And do you have any collabs that you're thinking about that you've already sat in studio or maybe engaged some artists, maybe any South African artists that you can think of right now?
Collaborating with artists it's always been a huge pleasure for me. I feel like getting two creative people who have a story to tell,
Hmm.
and them telling that story on a record is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, I do have a series of collaborations, but I like them to be a surprise and I want people to experience it in
CKAY,
real
don't do
time.
this to us. You're gonna keep us waiting and wanting.
All you have to do is to just stay tuned. If you
Yeah.
stay tuned, you're going to be the first to know.
I love that. Turn those notifications on, he said. Can you at least give an idea of whether or not South Africa will make an appearance?
I'm a fan of South African music, and yeah, I'm an artist who is always willing to collaborate. So definitely.
Awesome. We love that. Staying open is definitely something that, I mean, you need to do as a creative, as an artist. Last question, I guess, before we can wrap it up. Do you have your eye on anyone in particular? I mean, of course, the whole of our country is celebrating Tyler right now, who walked away with that Grammy. And I think it's inspired so many people to just, keep on going and keep on dreaming and just keep on pushing. So is there any artist that you've had your eye on from SA?
A few.
A few. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going to leave it at that?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much for your time, CK. Like you said, we got to just keep our eyes on your social presence to find out exactly what is going on and turn those notification bells on. I appreciate your time and I look forward to the music. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
For sure.